Alright, so tell me y'all's names.
Donnie Step. We met on a blind date by accident. I came in, and me and a buddy went down to the little cafe on South Side to eat, and his cousin was there, and he was in high school, and he was trying to beg somebody to take him to pick up this girl to go to the drive-in, and of course his cousin wouldn't go, and after about an hour, he finally talked me into it, and it was Pat.
My best friend.
My best friend.
Yeah.
And we picked him up, and we went to the drive-in.
Yeah.
How old were y'all?
Too old to be picking her up. I was 22, and she was 16.
Yeah. And and when the first, and this is truth, when he spoke to me, I loved his voice, and I knew that was a man I was going to marry. It was in my heart, it just in my mind, it come, this is a man I'm going to marry, and I hadn't even talked to him, but and that was it. And I fell in love with him that night, and I've been in love with him ever since.
For another year.
Yeah.
After I went out on that blind date.
Anyway, he went off and got engaged to this, a woman in Arkansas. And so I went on to, I graduated from high school, and I went to New Orleans to work for South Central Bell as a long-distance telephone operator. And I thought I'd never see him again, and I had my old boyfriend, I liked him, but I wasn't in love with him. But anyway, one day I got this phone call, and it was from Don. And so he wanted to come crawling back down to New Orleans to get me. He wanted to come, so he did. So we just hooked up. I quit my job and come back to Monroe, and we got married.
What's your favorite thing about Pat?
Well, he was always such a strong and good person. He always, I didn't have a very good childhood, and I never felt like I had a home until I met him, and that he's like my home. He's always taking good care of me. He puts me first above himself. He always has. And he's a man. And I always loved, one thing I always loved about him was his hands. He had big, strong hands, and I always felt so safe and comfortable, and he just takes care of me. He still does. He still is. After almost 54 years.
64.
I'm at 64 years.
Well, she's the most happiest, chooses to be happy, regardless of all the, of course, knowing all of her problems when she's growing up, and just the most positive person you ever want to meet.
What is the secret to making marriage last?
I think, even though I don't always do it, but I try, is to put your mate first and put them above your wishes, and make sure that they're happy. And that's kind of hard to do, but you have to work at it, really. And I think the older you get, it gets a little easier. But I know when I was very young, I was 19 years old. I was probably I wasn't so great at it, but I've gotten better at it as I've gotten older.
What about you, Pat?
Well, of course you have to work at it. First of all, you got to be in love with the right person. I mean, each one of them. You have to enjoy being around one another. be compatible with one another. And that's something you have to work at because we're not either. I mean, it's a sudden change when you all of a sudden you're living in a household just you and me.
Yeah.
And it's if you work at it, like to be around one another, and learn to enjoy the same things. And like you say, you got to put your mate first whenever you can.
Yeah.
And she's kind and good and sweet, and all them good things.